Coming to you from Huntsville, Alabama, high atop Montesano Mountain, it's Cry Aloud, the podcast proclaiming the importance of our Hebrew heritage for all believers. Now here's your friends, Chuck and Vicki Tatum.
Hello everyone, Shalom. Welcome to our program. Hope you're having a blessed day.
Shalom. Welcome to our home in top of Montesano Mountain. Stick around this time. It's going to be a brief but a very powerful information for you. It's good.
That's good. Well, we're all about encouraging believers to embrace our Hebrew heritage. And I'm going to ask Vicki to read a scripture out of John, the book of John, that I think will give us a little bit more insight of, kind of where we're coming from and what we're talking about. Here's a situation where Yeshua has just raised Lazarus from the dead. So obviously there's a big commotion going on, a lot of people around. People are oohing and eyeing, this is a really big miracle, raising someone from the dead. Been dead 4 days now. So, but not everyone is real pleased with this situation. Vicki, go ahead and read that scripture.
Okay. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, What do we, for this man doeth many miracles? If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and our nation. And one of them, named Caiaphas, but being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, that the whole nation perish not. That's going to mean a lot. Stick around. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
Okay, now that's the key right there. That here again, Caiaphas, the high priest, and he's making this statement to the council of the Sanhedrin and the other priests, and they're very concerned that Jesus is he's conducting all these miracles. I mean, people are beginning to believe in it. They're beginning to trust him, and that means they're going to follow him. And they're concerned about their own well-being. They've got a position here, and they're trying to hold on to that position. So he's saying to them, look, if we let this man continue to do this, the Romans, who are the ruling authority at that point, they're going to come in and they're going to basically do away with our position. They're going to destroy our temple, and then we're going to be out of a job. So it's kind of a power play, if you will, and a self-preservation on the religious leaders' part. What does that really mean? Okay. Caiaphas prophesied that one man should die for the nation. Now he's referring to what he considers the only nation that's there at that time in first century.
Which was the Jewish nation.
Was the Jewish nation, that was the Jewish people. But then he brings it together and he said, no, he's not dying just for the Jewish nation. He's dying so that all the house, all those who have been scattered can be brought together into one house. That's what we've been talking about. All these different programs that we're doing is that there's two houses.
Right.
There's the house of Judah, the southern kingdom, the house of Israel, the northern kingdom. And in the latter days, the prophets have prophesied, and now Caiaphas in the New Testament, book of John, is prophesying also that God is going to bring those two houses together. That's what it's all about. That's the exciting part of it. And there's more that we want to get into a lot of depth on it. But
well, is he saying that Yeshua came for Israel, for the Jewish people, but he came through this one act to make us all one body?
Exactly.
The lost tribes,
to make us one
the
house.
Scattered, to make us one house. That's what he's saying.
Right.
So in essence, it wasn't to be two different religions, right?
Exactly.
We were all to be made one. I've always felt that way.
That's right. We have one God, and obviously there's only one way. And unfortunately, because of disobedience, it got split apart. And as time has gone on, men with their own agenda has decided that well, here's what's really happening. And what we're about is saying, well, maybe we're looking at it from the wrong perspective. Maybe the way Christianity has developed is not the way that it should have been. And therefore we shouldn't have all these different groups and different ideas and things like that. It's one God, one house. That house is split apart, but now God is working to restore that house, bring it back together. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add to that, Vicki?
Well,
like I said, this is kind of a little nugget that we're throwing out because, again, our focus is to get people to understand it's not about the Jewish nation and Christianity. That's not what we're talking about. I've said it before in other programs. We're talking about 12 brothers, 12 tribes that make up the whole house.
Right, and they're scattered.
They
10 lost tribes. They're scattered everywhere. But God is during the end times. Do you remember that scripture in Zechariah?
That 10 men would take hold of the hem of the garment of a Jew and say, let us come with you because we know that you have the oracles of God. And Paul said the same thing.
Absolutely. And what we're saying is Yeshua didn't come to start and die to start a whole new religion. In the beginning of the book of Acts and from there on, all through the New Testament, the Jews and the Gentiles worshiped and came together. And even Jesus said to the woman at the well, I came for the lost tribes of Israel. The lost tribes of Israel. He wants us to be one. The Jews and the Gentiles are meant to serve one God, one way, and it's for all of us.
That's right. It's it's contradictory, I know, to most people in Christianity. If you've grown up in it or come into it at any time in the last 50 years, 60 years, but when we say encouraging all believers to embrace our Hebrew heritage, we're not talking about embracing a Jewish heritage.
Right.
We're talking about embracing a Hebrew heritage. Right. At the very beginning, going back to Abraham, when God established, God only established one nation, the nation of Israel. That's the only nation that he created for himself. And he calls them my people, his people. Right. And so we want to be his people. We feel like we are his people. Other believers are his people. People are just yearning to know more about it, to get more into depth as to what these scriptures say. But this interesting, Vicki came across this a couple of days ago, the fact that the high priest Caiaphas, in the book of John, is prophesying himself that
Yeshua came.
Yeshua came not to die for just the one nation, the Jewish nation,
but for all nations.
For all nations being the whole house, the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom. Ezekiel talks about it. All the prophets talk about it. And we're going to continue to talk about it. We got some other things that we want to bring.
Right. And if you're not familiar with talking about the tribes, Chuck did a 5-part series on the 12 tribes of Israel. So look for it on our channel and just start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll know exactly what he's saying here.
All right.
It's wonderful.
So again, we hope you're having a blessed day. We hope you'll subscribe. We hope you'll share the videos. We hope you'll comment. We'd love to have your comments on it.
And ask us questions, because if we can't answer them, we will certainly dig it out for you.
That's right. We'll try to, we want to learn. This is a learning process for us.
Mid-ration.
Mid-ration.
Yeah, we'll
kind of debating it back and forth. And we learn together. As Vicki likes to say, there's wisdom in a multitude of counsel. And we don't claim to have, all the answers, but we're bringing to you what we do have, what we understand, and what we're learning. So, again, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Make a comment. Like it. And please share it. It really would be a big help.
Shalom.
Next time, shalom.
Jehovah bless you and keep you. Jehovah make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Jehovah turn to you, lift up his countenance upon you, and give you shalom. Shalom, shalom.